Imagine the world full of people with the exact same faces. Imagine if you're a student like me, when you go outside to go to school, you only see a wave of people as a reflection of yourself. Imagine you're having a class and you see your fellow students and teachers sitting or standing, looking exactly identical as you. But when you're wondering about those things, you didn't realize that the backpack and the pencil case that you just put on your desk a while ago were all gone. But at the same time, you also didn't realize that this was only the taste of what was going to happen next. Subsequently, you saw a large number of students leaving the classroom without teacher's permission. But at the same time, you saw a teacher just standing there and putting no effort to stop the students from leaving the classroom. And there were two reasons why she couldn't stop them. First of all, it's because she also looked exactly same as them. Secondly, it's because she didn't know the identities of each of the students. Now, as you follow the students leaving the classroom, you saw a large number of people in the outside arguing about their identities. For example, on the left corner side, you saw people arguing about the ownership of the market. And on the right side of you, you saw people arguing about who was the criminal and who was the policeman. And in the midst of those two, you saw a large number of people in the middle of the street arguing about the ownership of their car. In other words, what you saw there was total catastrophe. On the bright side, however, we're not living in those conditions. We all look different, we all think different things, and we all have different personalities. And even the identical twins don't look exactly the same. Speaking of identical twins, I want to introduce one of the identical twins that I'd known. And here they are. Even though I'd known them for approximately 3 years and a half, I'm still struggling to tell who's whom. But somehow, their parents can tell who's whom very easily, regardless of their outfits. Even though they wear same shirts, same pants, same hats, and things like that, they can still tell. But my point here is that as I saw them for a long time, there was one interesting fact that I found out. And it was that the personalities they had was completely different from one another. For example, to start with, one of the identical twins, Chang-woo, was very playful. He loved to go outside and hang out with his friends after school and play sports, play games such as PUBG, Fortnite, Overwatch, and things like that. But the other twins, Hyun-woo, on the other hand, loved studying. Usually, when the school was finished, he went straight to the library and stayed in the library for approximately 5 hours or so, and only focused on his academic studies. Reviewed his work, revised his work, or read a lot of books, and did everything that you could expect from an A-star student. Now, looking at those identical twins, however similar they might be on the outside, the personalities that they had was completely different from one another. And likewise, how we look is only the minor part of ourselves. The actual and major factor that makes who you are as a person is the inside part of you. Now, these days, sadly, I see too many people taking too much time and consuming their too much money on how they look. And the research from Jacqueline Wong of the University of Chicago and Andrew Penner of the University of California at Irvine used data from more than 14,000 people to look at the association between attractiveness and income. In the surveys, interviewers asked people a number of questions about their income, job, education, personality, and going on. And in the surveys, like past studies, it showed that attractive people got more salaries and vice versa. But that wasn't all this time. This survey also stated that the grooming, such as applying makeup, styling their hair, as well as clothes, was actually the major factor that accounted for the number of salaries the women got. For men, grooming didn't make as much of a difference. Nowadays, many studies show that attractive people are more likely to get hired and get more paid in the end. In school, they are more likely to be popular and tend to receive higher grades. Some of the researchers call this kind of bias, halo effect, meaning that just because someone is handsome or beautiful, people are considering them as kind, intelligent, or cooperative. Now, as I mentioned, I cannot deny that people are more attracted to a handsome or beautiful people more than the vice versa. And that's a natural thing, and I don't have enough power to change that. However, what I can change is your mind or views toward how people look. But before I do that, I want to give more examples of how we look. Now, related to this, 53% of 13-year-old American girls don't like how their body is shaped. And this grows to 78% when they turn 17. This means that even 13-year-old girls take an extreme care in how they look. And this also means that they're stressed about it. They have to sit on a dressing table for more than an hour to make sure that they're well adorned. And even the 13-year-old girls are doing that. As I've mentioned, attractive people are more likely to get hired, get more pay in the end, and in school, they're more likely to get popular and tend to receive higher grades. And this is the reality of the world. We have to be beautiful or handsome to take those benefits, to be popular and to increase the possibility of getting hired and to get more paid in the end. Then how can we change this from happening? Prior to changing the world as a whole, we first must appreciate the fact that we all look different, as you saw the consequences that happened when everybody looked the same. Also, we have to change our views or minds toward how people look. Now, how we look is just like the clothes we wear. Would you like to be judged by who you are or how well you're dressed? Yes, you want to be judged by who you are as a person. But what we're doing right now is the exact opposite thing. We are judging people by how well they're dressed. However, just by changing our views toward people, just seeing straight into them and seeing the personalities they have, we can now go further into changing the world as a whole. Now, there's a saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Let's say you only like to read fantasies, and one day you found a book which had a cover of princess on it. Would you like to pick up that book and read it? No, probably not. But let's assume you did it. What if you did pick up that book and found out that it was the book containing more than one story in it? Meaning that the cover of the book, which was princess, was only part of the book. And now when you go to the library or the bookshop to purchase a book or to choose what kind of book you're going to read or buy, the first thing that catches your eye is the cover of the book. The cover of the book attracts you and makes you pick up that book. But now the question is, do you buy that book straight away just because the cover looks nice? Probably not, right? Then what is the actual thing that we're looking at to make sure that we are interested in that book? Yes, we preview what is inside the book, or at least we turn the book around and see the information that are written in the back of the paper or the back of the book. Now, when the author is writing a book, they spend more time writing the stories in a book more than spending their time on making their cover looks nice. And even some of them don't even care how their cover looks nice and let anyone else do it, not them. And this should apply the same to us. How we look is just like a tool to make someone interested, to make someone attracted. And it is good to make yourself adorned and make yourself attracted in the first meeting day. But after that, you don't have to take an extreme care to it anymore. And now, before I end my speech, there's one question that I want to ask you. Would you marry a person just because they're handsome or beautiful? Would you marry a person who you're going to spend your whole lifetime with just because they're good looking? I'd say not. As I mentioned, there are many people taking too much time and their money to make sure that they're well adorned. But looking back, being honest, what are we doing to make sure that we are well adorned in the inside part of us as well? Now, if you're still only making sure that you look good on the outside, I want to tell you this, that accepting yourself and letting your inner beauty out is part of being beautiful. Thank you.